Okay, here we go. Sugar is your #1 enemy. I know what you're thinking. Hold on, you just told me this was going to be different. Tell me something I don't know. But we're not actually talking about jelly donuts and candy canes. Yes, those are bad for you, but there are plenty of foods disguised as health foods that quickly change to sugar in your body. Guess what? Orange juice, whole wheat bread, and healthy cereals. Things designated as low fat, like muffins and salad dressings. The list goes on and on. These are the foods that are actually causing you to gain, or at least not lose weight. Listen, I'm telling you the truth. When that stuff hits your system, it turns to sugar. Tons of food that are thought of as healthy do the same thing. They are not healthy. They're actually the foods that are preventing you from losing weight. Let me show you a little chart that I use to explain this to people. You see the column on the left? That represents your blood sugar. Now, blood sugar is not something only diabetics need to worry about. Anyone who's trying to burn stubborn fat off their body needs to regulate their blood sugar. Here's why. If your blood sugar's high, and by high, I mean anything over the 100 to 120 zone for a consistent period of time, your body has no choice but to release a hormone called insulin. Insulin signals your body to store fat, and that's exactly what you don't want. But having high blood pressure for consistent periods of time is actually very dangerous for your body, so insulin comes in to save the day. Unfortunately, though, this makes you store lots of fat. There's even more bad news. I know, it couldn't get any worse, right? When insulin is released, it actually takes your blood sugar from a high to an extreme low. And do you know what happens when your blood sugar is low? You're hungry, you have cravings, and you're extremely fatigued. Is that how you feel on many diet programs? Is that how you feel a lot during the day? Doesn't that make it near impossible to stay on your fat burning plan? Now, I'm not here to tell you we all don't need a certain amount of insulin in our bloodstream, because if we didn't, we'd all be walking around as diabetics. But what I am saying is that many people are releasing way too much insulin, and that's why it's nearly impossible for them to lose any weight. The answer that you need to this problem is knowing exactly which foods you can eat that will not cause this blood sugar insulin roller coaster. Let me go into explaining how to recognize those foods right now. I know you're probably surprised to see carbs written across the top of the screen, especially since we just got done talking about sugar, and many people associate carbs to sugar. But what we need to know is that not all carbs are created equal, and the ones that you are eating, thinking are healthy, may be doing you more harm than good. Look, you need carbs to make your body function properly, but there are certain carbs that we absolutely do not need. For example, many people believe the whole wheat bread they're eating is good for them. Definitely not. This couldn't be farther from the truth. Whole wheat bread will create an increase in blood pressure and insulin just as much as most other breads. This also happens with most pastas. Yes, even the whole wheat ones. Almost all cereals, crackers, even the ones with all kinds of healthy claims written all over the box. All of them will put you in that fat storing state. So which carbs should you eat? Well, lucky for you and me, there are a lot of them. If you are a fan of bread, as most people are, I probably really upset you before with all that bad news about bread, but there are still lots of breads you can have. There are breads made from sprouted grains or from grains like rice and spelt that all fit perfectly into your fat-burning meal plan. And they taste good too. I'm not into eating anything that tastes bad, and I'm sure you're not either. Speaking of good grains, how do you like rice? Ever heard of millet or quinoa? They're absolutely delicious. And although not a grain, how about a sweet potato with a little butter and cinnamon? Yes, you can have that and still burn tons of fat. You know what else qualifies as a good form of carbs? Pretty much any food and vegetables for the game. And I know there are some crazy diet plans out there that limit the amount of fruits and vegetables you can have, but that's just a complete lie. Any diet that tells you you can't have something like a fruit or vegetable is some crazy crash diet and not realistic for the long term. And that's not what we're trying to teach you here. The truth is the good fiber, vitamins, and minerals and nutrients in most fruits and vegetables will actually help you burn fat faster. Here's another very confusing topic. If you don't know exactly what kind of fat you should be eating, burning fat would be impossible. Yes, impossible. I almost can't believe it in this day and age. People are still afraid to eat fat. But who can blame them? We've been told by just about every health guru that fat is what makes people fat. This is just another huge misconception and a big lie. You want to know what the real truth is? The right kind of fat will actually burn a ridiculous amount of fat off your body, increasing your loss of fat loss excess exponentially. Here's why. When you give your body the right kind of fat, it actually increases the metabolic process to burn off your unwanted fat. Did you get that? Eat the right kind of fat, and you will burn fat. Eat the wrong kind of fat, and you'll store fat. Here are the fats you should be avoiding like the plague because they are the ones that are causing you to gain weight and preventing you from losing the bad fat off your body. Hydrogenated oils, canola oil and vegetable oils, margarine, and definitely those substitute fake butter products. Surprised again? Did you think that processed fake margarine you're putting on your toast each morning was actually the right thing to do? I don't blame you. How could you not? With all those commercials out there telling you that this is actually the healthy alternative to butter, but have you read the ingredients list on there? That's not real food, and your body does nothing good with this stuff but store this bad fat. Let me let you in on all the delicious fats you can have. Real butter, whole eggs, coconut oil, olive oil, avocados, and raw nuts. You think I'm crazy now, don't you? This is usually the place for many people who ask me, Gabriella, aren't we supposed to avoid saturated fat for our health? Am I going to keel over from a heart attack by eating butter and coconut oil? Definitely not. Another huge misconception, and something most health professionals have all wrong. Statistics prove it. Remember, sugar is your enemy. All these natural, unprocessed fats that are not full of chemicals are not only your friend, but what you absolutely need to burn that fat off your body. If we're going to consider sugar enemy number 1, then processed would be enemy number 2. But then again, most processed foods contain an incredible amount of sugar. Do you know what else they contain? Tons of chemicals that will make it almost impossible for your body to burn off fat. Let me explain this by giving you a brief anatomy lesson, and I promise it won't be hard. It all comes down to how effectively your liver is working. Now, your liver has many functions, but the two we want to focus on here are the breakdown of fats and the filtering of harmful substances from the blood. If your liver stops to break down fat, you want it working at full force, right? But when your poor little liver is too busy trying its hardest to filter out all the harmful substances that are coming in from all those processed foods, it has no time or energy for fat breakdown. Just like if you had 2 big jobs each day and you spent your whole day working on just one, do you think the other would get done? Probably not. The easiest solution to making sure that your liver has all the time it needs to break down fats is to stop feeding it harmful substances to work on. So what are those harmful substances? Things like artificial sweeteners, high fructose corn syrup, hydrogenated oils, and even processed soy products. It's the foods that contain these chemicals that are overwhelming your liver, and you have to stop eating them. Even if you think you may not be eating many of these chemicals, they are unfortunately in many foods we think are good for us. Do you know that I found high fructose corn syrup in foods like so-called healthy yogurt, whole wheat bread, and cereals that's advertised as good for you? It's right there on the ingredients list, so do yourself and your liver a favor. Give it a chance to get into fat burning mode by greatly reducing, or dare I say, eliminating, processed foods from your eating plan. This means saying goodbye to the packaged snacks, the microwavable meals, diet health bars, and definitely the soy products, and say hello to foods you know do not require heavy processing. Foods that contain only one ingredient like steak, chicken, fish, eggs, fruits and veggies, olive oil, coconut oil, butter, rice, and sweet potatoes. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of delicious meals that can be created with any combination of these foods. I know because I've done it, and I've been able to stay super lean over the past 10 years. Now let's get into a topic that's not exactly food, but I know it's probably on your mind. Calories. First and foremost, I'm going to be honest and tell you that I absolutely hate the word calories. It just drives everyone crazy. And I never want to hear, Gabriella, how many calories should I be eating to lose weight? It's not the number of calories that matter. It's the quality of food you're eating and the metabolic enhancing effect on your body that matters. So, most people are actually focused on the wrong thing. If you just eliminate the bad stuff, the garbage foods, processed foods, and focus on eating the good stuff, the foods I mentioned earlier, you can drop the calculator and stop all the counting madness. But that answer is just not good enough for most people. I do admit, you have to be somewhat reasonable about the amount you eat. But exactly what is reasonable for you, and what is reasonable for me? Surprisingly enough, it's a lot more calories than you think. Once I figured out the portions of food I needed to eat to lose weight were actually significantly bigger than the portions I was eating before, it was like the best thing that ever happened. I didn't have to be hungry anymore, and I was still losing weight. How great is that? Here I was previously starving myself with all the wrong foods, only to find out that if I ate all the right foods, I could eat a lot. And I love to eat. And actually, starving myself was doing more harm than good because my body was holding on to all my bad fat in an effort to protect me. You might have heard this before, that calorie restriction may lead your body into starvation mode. That's when your body thinks you're dying of starvation and protects you by holding on to every last bit of fat and every last calorie you have in your body. I'm pretty sure most people in this day and age are not running the risk of starvation.